know. The red velvet cake can't be a meal. You know, the sweet potato pie cannot be a meal. You know, taste it, but don't feast on it. So with that being said, New Year's resolution, eat for my health. Yes.
Yeah, Dr. I told you to exercising because you tell what they want.
Yeah, when you were 12. You know, the question is, hey, if you exercise, you can have whatever you want.
Yes.
Used to be, don't count anymore. We used to be able to do that, but we have other things that influence, and this is a little side from what I'm talking about today, but I do want to explain to, especially to our audience, that the question is, if you exercise, you can have anything you want. You can eat anything. Okay? And that goes, we're going to talk about myths today. And one of the myths is that what they say, calories in equals calories out. So if you take in 1,200 calories, then you can burn 1,200 calories and it makes it neutral. Sort of, kind of. Okay? Because we have within our bodies something called storage. Okay? We have a storage plan going on constantly. Because of generations and generations, we used to be hunters and gatherers where sometimes we wouldn't have food anywhere. And so our bodies, like many animals, have storage centers called fat cells. So as a result, when you say, you know what, I'm not going to eat, I'm going to go on a fast, right? And so you don't eat anything and your fat cells start releasing the stored products. Then you start eating again, right? Guess what your cells do? Fill up the storehouse with the stuff that you don't use. And then you get to the yin and yang. So then you say, well, all I have to do then is, as you said, just exercise it away. But other things contribute to storage. For instance, sleep. I call it the S's. There are about 4 of them. If you don't sleep enough, you put a stress on your body, which often can lead to storage. There's a hormone called cortisol, will help with you and helps with storage. If you do the starvation, eat, starve, eat, starve. Once again, it creates that storage hormone going off. Another one is having a whole lot of sugars. Here's a secret about sugar. Sugar is not a bad thing. Everyone gives it a bad name, right? Sugars, or what we call starches, are meant for fuel. Immediate. What I mean by immediate, you know you're going to go do an hour-long cardio class, right? Or you're going shopping at the mall for 2 hours. You're going to be walking. You need energy for that. Starches are wonderful. Eat a banana, have yourself an apple, some grapes, some crackers. You eat that, and boom, it goes right into your bloodstream. Fast. Now, what if you're going to eat the bag of potato chips, that banana, that orange, and sit on your butt at the computer or watching TV? Then guess what your body's going to do with that?
Storage.
It's going to go to store. So that which you do not use immediately, and what I call immediate, within the hour or two, goes straight to storage. So yeah, you exercise, you burn the calories, and then you eat. And more likely overeat, because you said, ooh, I was exercising today. And you gain weight. Because you might just go sit down, right? You may not be getting enough sleep. You may eating, not eating, and you create yo-yo, which affects your hormones. And then aging. As we age, as we get older, our metabolism changes because of hormones. Estrogen, testosterone, all these hormones and thyroid affects our ability to burn. You know, little kids, you ever see them kids, they're always moving. They're like ever-ready batteries. They never sit down. And they're seldom overweight. Little kids are seldom overweight because they don't stop moving. adults, we become more sedentary. So then we lead to more storage. But then the hormones start decreasing after 40, which leads to more storage, right? So no, you can't just eat whatever you want, especially after 40, and expect that it's just gonna melt away. That old you's gone, okay? Another question. When January comes, I'm gonna go into more topics about weight and health and nutrition. I'm not a nutritionist, so I don't claim to be one, but after 30 years of doing this education, I know a little something, okay? And my goal is to be able to explain it in a way that you can understand. But today, what I gave you today, and I want you all to take a look at it, is a form. I didn't make it, I wish I did. But I want you to utilize this with your health professionals, okay? And this is your homework sheet. Last week I gave you a homework sheet for your vitals.
Just like that, it's similar to that.
Well, this is a little different because the area I want you to focus on that we're going to talk about is called medications. Medications. Anybody in here taking any medications? One, two?
One.
Just one.
Anybody taking any vitamins?
Oh, yeah.
Well, good, everyone's taking vitamins. So my talk today is, what's up with the drugs? You may want to ask your body, you know? And let me answer that question for you. Drugs. Frank, can you get me an eraser?
I'm good.
So, our topic of today is we're going to talk about drugs. Okay? Now, I have a social story about drugs and then I have a doctor story about drugs. Okay? I'm going to save the social commentary until later on. But I will say that I love the fact that all the scientists got together during COVID. We had hundreds of thousands of scientists in COVID working on one problem. One problem. And within a year, what did we have?
COVID. I mean,
We had a vaccine.
Yeah, vaccine.
We had a vaccine.
Yeah.
Within just 1 year. Usually a drug, vaccines take 5, 10, 15, 20 years to come to market. Do you know why?
But this,
Money.
Money!
oh,
Millions upon millions, if not billions of dollars were poured into COVID. Scientists from all over the world was focused on COVID. So you had money, you had scientists, and then you had all the countries coming together to solve a single problem. What do you think would happen if we took that same energy, resources for diabetes, for hypertension, right?
right.
What do you think would happen? We would eradicate that within a year, for sure, if not sooner. So you got 5, 10, 20, 30, maybe 1,000 scientists working on diabetes. You see, we still have it. All we get are more drugs. You know, a better drug, a better treatment. I want a cure. And so you'll find me talking more and more about natural cures, way that we can control it. That is, if you're not born with a deficiency like a genetic, like type 1 diabetes, you're actually missing the ability to process insulin. So you actually have to take, I'm talking about people who buy diabetes, you know, develop it over time. If we had all those scientists working, we wouldn't be looking for treatments. We would be going for the cure. But that's my comment, social commentary. But let's talk about drugs. Why drugs?
Fast, quick, fast,
Fast. People use it because they're fast. Okay. What
It
else?
works.
Well, yeah. We hope they work. We hope they work. What?
we hope they're safe.
We hope for safety with drugs, right? Safety. Right? That's why we have drugs. But drugs are developed to treat a problem. Right? Like hypertension. Right? Like diabetes. We have these drugs.
overeating.
Eating, yes. Nutrition, definitely, and that's gonna be a whole nother talk, because there's certain things, and most medical issues, we really can move towards better treatments if we eat better, have a better nutrition, avoid certain things, add certain things to our nutrition diet. And I'm gonna give that my next talk. But just focusing on drugs. Drugs are created to treat a problem. No problem, you don't need a drug, right? So if you're taking a medication right now, can anybody want to tell me what you're taking it for, if you don't mind sharing?
High blood pressure.
Okay, so we have someone for high blood pressure, cholesterol, thyroid, diabetes. So we got the big guns.
Yeah.
You know, we got the top guns. Why did I say top guns? The majority of money is spent in the United States on these top problems: hypertension, diabetes, cholesterol. And I want you to remember what I'm going to tell you. This is a family. This is a family affair. These three people. You know, you have the brother, the sister, the cousin. Okay. These people are all related. They're in the same family. This one is the oldest. You know, you have the older brother. When the older brother misbehaves, everybody else misbehaves. You ever notice that? The ringleader.
They follow him.
Follow the leader. Diabetes. And the good news is, when you clean up diabetes, you clean up hypertension and cholesterol. So if you had all three and you wanted to say, you know, which one should I focus on? Focus on your diabetes. You will find you'll clean up the other two issues. Yes?
When they say you're on the borderline with diabetes.
Okay, borderline. When we were talking about Bible last time, her question is, what's the border of diabetes? Well, your blood sugar should be under 5.7 hemoglobin A1C. Hemoglobin A1C, as we talked about last time, is what is your blood sugar doing over 3 months. It's an average, right? That means if you were to take your blood sugar every single day and you took an average of the 90 days, there's a number that you get, and it's called the hemoglobin A1C. If you're not diabetic, it should be under 5.7, right? If you're diabetic, it's going to be over 6.4. So when you talk about the border, if you're between 5.7 and 6.4, you're in the border. You're standing on danger zone. So if someone told you your hemoglobin A1C is 6.3, you're moving to the dark side. Okay? All it takes is one more step and you're on the 6.4 and you're officially diabetic. Okay? And diabetic's a whole nother story, but it's your inability to process starches and sugar. When you take in a starch, when you take in a sugar, either the insulin is not sufficient or the insulin you have does not work, and therefore the sugar and the starches just hang around and cause damage to your blood vessels, to your circulation, to your nerve endings, to your kidneys. So you really want to stay away from the border. You want to get into the no diabetes 5.7.
So just to make sure we understand that your hemoglobin A1C over a 3-month
3-month period is
period
an average.
should be
Under 5.7.
5.7.
Ideally, I mean, a superstar, 5.4, 4.9. I mean, like, you're really tight. You're not eating bonbons and chocolate and potato chips and candies and cookies. And it's not all junk food. You're not having bowls and bowls of fruit salads, you know, full of grapes and dates and dried raisins and craisins, and you know, all those elevate the blood sugar. You also don't want your glucose. Glucose is another word for sugar, to be over. For me, I like to see under 100. If you haven't eaten all day long, you wake up in the morning, your sugar really should not be over 100. You haven't eaten. Now, you may not eat if you're diabetic, and you say, I haven't eaten, and it's like, it's 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and my sugar's already 130. Always remember, it's fuel. If you start doing activity, your body needs fuel. Your body's gonna go into the storehouse we talked about, take stuff out, and start burning. Because it still has to function in your body. Okay, that's the other story. So let's go back to the family and why drugs are created. So drugs get created to solve problems. The top one's over here, okay? And we mentioned thyroid also. Thyroid's not quite in the family, but I will tell you, it has an influence on every single one of these, okay? The thyroid will affect these other medical conditions. So they create drugs. So then you say to yourself, back to the question, well, Dr. Paul, the doctor told me my blood pressure was good. And then when it gets good, what's the first question you ask your doctor? Come on.
Can I come off the med?
Can I come, say it again.
Can I come off my medication?
Can I stop taking my meds? Right? That's the first thing we want to do, right? You started taking the drug. Your blood pressure got good, right? And then you say, can I just get rid of it now? It's good, right? In fact, you don't even ask. Tell the truth. You don't ask. You just stop taking it. Look, it was good. It was good. I don't have to take this no more. And then you go to the doctor's office and they said, hey, you've been taking the medications. Yes. And you tell the doctor that white lie. And they look and say, but I don't understand why it's so high today. It's always good when I'm at home. It's only high when I come to see you, Dr. Powell, and all my other doctors. Y'all make us have high blood pressure. How many of y'all say that?
Yes.
We give you guys conditions.
I think it.
We make them up because we're trying to sell drugs, right? Because we get kickbacks. Someone asked me that question. Dr. Powell, don't the more prescriptions you write, the more money you make? I wish. You think I'd be working? No. I write easily. No, I'm not gonna tell you that, but I write a lot of prescriptions, and if I just got $1, can you imagine 30 years? If I wrote 10 prescriptions a day, and I've been in practice 30 years, and I got $1 for every prescription, just $1. You know I would be back in Cancun. But no, doctors do not get kickbacks for writing prescriptions, you know? Prescriptions are created by pharmaceutical companies, drug companies, through a lot of research. And so you say, why do they cost so much? Research costs money. So they set a price. So the cost of making it, plus paying back the people who gave them the money to make it, and of course we need a profit, right? A big old profit, right? But back to the drugs. So do I have to take it? My blood pressure is really, really good. And you say,
You got to take it.
I have to take it.
who says if it's good, why should I take it?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd ask.
So it can stay good?
Oh, so you can stay good. And then you'll say, like my mama, look, it's good already. You know, it's fine. I haven't been taking it all week and it's good, right? You ever started taking a medication, it corrected the problem, and then you just stopped taking it? Yes?
Yes. I did it. I had thyroid and I stopped taking it for a week.
Yes.
I had to go straight to emergency. All my organs was gone. I was going out of here.
Yes.
I stayed in there for a week. I felt good. I didn't think I had to continue to take it, but no, I find out I have to take it every day.
So we start feeling okay, right? We start feeling really good. And so then we'll stop the medication. But we still, yes.
I wake up on mornings and first thing I do is take my blood pressure. And if it's good, I don't take my medication.
Okay. Now we're getting to the story I want to share with you that many of you doctors won't, but I'm going to. Okay? And we'll use high blood pressure. Remember, drugs are designed to solve a problem. Okay? If the problem is absent, you don't need the drug. It's a simple story. Now you have a physician to answer the question with you. is the problem still present? And, I'm sorry, give me your name again? Yes. Miss Marvin just gave us a perfect example. She was taking thyroid medication. You mind me saying?
Yeah, go ahead.
She was taking thyroid medication. She started feeling really good. Her numbers became really well. And she stopped the medication. And when she stopped it just for 1 week, the problems came back in a nightmare cascade.
Yeah.
Which tells you what?
Keep taking it.
It tells you you still have the problem.
Still have it.
Just because it looks good, don't mean it is good. Okay? It may be, but you gotta evaluate. And that's where you and your doctor needs to have a conversation. And I have it a lot of times with my patients. I give what I call some tests. Let's test it. Okay? Let's do a trial. But you're going to have to be a partner in this process. Okay? For instance, like diabetes. If you want to come off your diabetic medication, for me, you need to check your blood sugar at least 3 times a day. When you wake up in the morning, before your meals, and before you go to bed. And if all 3 times your blood sugar is within normal range, you probably don't need to take the medication. And you have to do that for a period of time. For me, at least 2 to 3 weeks. Then we can come to an evaluation. Is this problem still here? But you can't have a good day, a good week, and say, problem solved, right? We got to test it. And one of those tests, you have to be a participant. You can't just say, whoop, throw it at me, I'm done. You actually have to do the evaluation. So you check it in the morning, you check your blood sugar in the evening, you check your blood pressure, you know, make sure you're calm. And if it is in the normal range, it's good. Not just a number, but you feel good.
Yeah.
You have to feel good. Don't be fooled by numbers. Do you have headache? Do you have dizziness? Do you feel weak? Do you feel tired? Are you no energy? Right? If you look for those symptoms. If the problem is still present, even if the numbers are good, you should be taking your medication. Okay? Yes.
Excuse my stupidity.
No,
but
no, no.
What is thyroid?
Oh, the thyroid. The thyroid, the question is, what is the thyroid? The thyroid, in a nutshell, this is a head, by the way. Okay? And this is your neck.
Why are you drawing me?
This is your neck. And in your neck, there's an organ right here. Looks like, they call it a butterfly. It looks like a cookie for a dog from your dog bowl. But it's a butterfly. And it's called your thyroid. And the thyroid is a gland. And it's what they call the master gland. Why is the master? Because this organ right here does everything. Controls your weight, gain weight, lose weight. Your skin dry, your skin oily. It controls whether or not you have energy or no energy, whether you're tired or not tired, whether you have palpitations or you run normally, where you feel sleepy all the time or you don't sleep all the time. It controls how you feel.
Yeah, because my heart used to beat like that when I first found out.
Yes.
I could just sit there and feel like it was just coming out my chest.
Yes. The thyroid is so important. It's a master gland, and everyone should get it checked. And there's a test that you do. The simplest one is called the TSH, the thyroid stimulating hormone.
TSH?
It's a blood test that you can check, and there are a bunch of other tests that go with it. But it sends out hormones into your circulation that gives you energy, makes your temperature stay regulated. You're not cold or you're not hot, you're not sleepy, and you're not tired. So real important, if your hair doesn't fall out. Some people hair start falling out when the thyroid is off. So again, when we talk about drugs and problems, if your heart's beating out of your chest because you have a thyroid problem, and all of a sudden it got calm when you started taking your medications, so you say throw it away, and then your heart started beating out your chest again, take your pill. take your pill because the problem still exists. Yes.
Another thing, my eyes used to bulge.
Bulge out.
Yeah, it
Yes.
was like, what, popping it out.
Pop it out.
Talking to you, you like you was pulling it out. It was bulge out.
So, real important. So let's talk back to drugs. I'm really hitting home with this because a lot of people say, oh, they're just pushing drugs. But we're not talking about doctors. I'm talking about you. Look at your medications. Line them up. And I want you to evaluate every single one of them with one question. What problem is it taking care of? And if you look at your pills and you cannot figure out what the problem is supposed to be treating, put it aside, pick up your phone, call your doctor, or go see your doctor and say, why am I taking this? And if it does not serve a purpose, ask them to remove it. The other thing you want to check is there duplication. Okay? Are you taking 2 medications or 3 for the same problem? My doctor has me on 3 blood pressure pills. Why am I taking 3 blood pressure? Can we just take 1? Maybe. Okay? Sometimes your pressure cannot be controlled with 1 pill. The majority of Americans who have high blood pressure cannot be controlled with 1 pill. Okay? Why? It's a complicated story, but the different parts that controls blood pressure, the muscles of the heart, the kidneys, your circulation, all that controls your blood pressure. And each pill, one will regulate circulation, another one will help the muscle of the heart, one will improve circulation. So sometimes all we need to do is increase the strength of the muscle of the heart, and that might be 1 pill. But sometimes the heart needs more help. It may need help with your kidneys. So then you will have a blood pressure medicine that also helps your kidneys, right? So then you have 2 pills. And you may have swelling, side effects from the medication, and then you may need another pill to help with the side effects, right? So duplication though, but back to lining up those pills. What is this for, doc? And if it does not serve a purpose, ask for it to be eliminated. But it serves a problem that you know you still have because your numbers are bad and you feel terrible, continue taking it, right? So then we come to the next issue. So we're going to get rid of duplication. Let's talk about side effects. Anybody ever took a medication and got a side effect? Or allergic reaction? Do you know the difference between, everybody says, I have an allergy to penicillin. How you know? Well, when I took it, I just, blew up. Yeah, that's an allergy. I couldn't breathe. That's an allergy. Broke out in a rash from head to toe. That's an allergy. It hurt my stomach. That's not an allergy. It gave me diarrhea. That's not an allergy. I felt like throwing up. That's not an allergy. Those are side effects. Allergies are usually things that will take you near to death or make you extremely uncomfortable. The fact that you can't breathe when you just took a medication, that's an allergy. So if you're taking a drug and it's giving you an allergic reaction, that's a no. Immediately stop taking it, right? Now, side effects usually go away within 2 to 3 weeks of being on the medication. Your body gets used to it. If it makes you sleepy, take it at night. If it keeps you up, take it in the morning. Those are side effects. If it makes you nauseous, eat it with food, right? Or you may need to reduce the dose. If it causes you leg swelling, that's a side effect, but it may not be one you like because you can't wear any of your shoes. I would ask for a medication change. Yes,
ACE inhibitor
yes.
made me cough. Was
Cough.
that a side effect? Or
Side effect.
That was a side effect?
Side effect is not an allergy, it's
I
a
mean,
side effect.
coughing.
Coughing, non-stop coughing.
Yeah.
Yes, ACE inhibitors have known, like lisinopril is known to cause coughs. And that's a side effect, that's not an allergy. Now, what's an allergic reaction to an ACE inhibitor? Some people have developed swelling. Their lips will swell, their tongue will swell, they can't breathe. That's an allergic reaction, that's a no. And most people can't deal with coughs, so let's get a different drug, right?
Right.
Okay, so we have to understand, we're treating problems, we're getting rid of our duplications, we're gonna make sure we're not having side effects, make sure we treat side effects, and if they're bad enough, get rid of the drug, but definitely no allergic reaction for the drug. Now, well, okay, I'm gonna take the medicine, but guess what I'm gonna do? I take it today, and I'll skip it tomorrow, and then I'll take it next week. Anybody ever dance with their pills?
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit on the sideline one day with it, then the next day I'll take it, and then the next day, I'm not taking that today. Or you'll take it in the morning one day, and then you take it in the evening the next day, or then you just don't take it. You know? Oh, I forgot. Okay, yes.
Is there a certain
time?
You have to take the medication?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's really, and most doctors don't really explain this correctly. They just say, take this once a day, right? Take this twice a day. That's not good enough. And I'm going to tell you why. There's a thing called the half-life. It's called half-life. That means 50, that's me. No, not really. Half my life is gone. No, it's gone. No, I'm actually 56. It's even more gone. No, not really. Half-life for a medication means that the time that it takes for half of the meds to be out of your system. Okay? In a nutshell, that's a quick way to put it. So for instance, if you notice, it's a climb here, right? Say this is 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, 5, 6, 8. Check this out. You take the pill at 8 o'clock in the morning, right? Say it's your blood pressure medicine. You can't take your blood pressure 5 minutes later. Because guess what? It's still down here. You need to take your pressure to see if it's working about 2 or 3 hours later. That's really the truth of it. Because guess what? It's going to take a little while for it to kick in. So taking the pill and checking it doesn't work if you really want to know if it's being effective, right? But the half-life now, in this graph, by 3 hours, it's at its peak. But look, what happens now? This is it coming out of your system. You ever take some medication and like it's working, you check it, your blood pressure at about 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, but then by 6 o'clock, your pressure is high again? Or your blood sugar has gone back up and you haven't eaten anything all day? It has to do with the medicine is coming out of your system. Another word for half-life is the time that the medicine starts to lose its effect. It's no longer effective, or at least as effective. It starts to come out. So why is it important to take it? First thing you have to know about drugs, you have to take them on schedule. Okay? If it's going to be 8 o'clock, make it 8 o'clock. If it's going to be 9 o'clock, let it be 9 o'clock. Why? Because if it's going to be halfway out your system at a particular time, you don't want one day it's out at 12 o'clock, next day it's out at 6 o'clock, next day it's out at 5 o'clock. You want to be consistent that every day it gets in your system, gets the peak when it's supposed to get its peak, and start to come out. Understand? Yes.
What about 3 times a day?
Same thing. The reason drugs are 1 time a day, 2 times a day, 3 times a day has to do with how long it's going to last in your system. If it's a 1 time a day drug, that means it stays in your system a pretty long time. If it's a 2 time a day drug, it probably comes in, then goes out. If it's a 3 time a day drug, it's probably doing this. So every time it starts to drop, you need to take another pill.
Sometimes they say if you forget it, take it when you remember it.
And of course, all medications like that. If you've forgotten your medication, take it as soon as possible. But whatever you do, the next day, get right back on schedule. Get right back on schedule. Because you're playing with your body. One day it gets energy, the next day it doesn't get energy. One day it gets the pressure control, the next day it doesn't. And that's what happens when you take your meds one day, you don't take your meds the next day. And this happens a lot with hormone replacement. Many men that I treat men and women actually with libido issues and with testosterone issues. So your testosterone is low. After 50, it starts going tanking out on everybody. Don't worry about it. But if you start treating it because of maybe erection problems, you can, if the doctor says take your shot once a week, you cannot take that shot once a month because it's not going to be effective. If the medication is supposed to be taken once a week and you take it every 3 weeks, you will not get the results you want because it's not made that way. If it's supposed to be once a day, take it once a day. It's not every other day because it will be gone by the next day. Make sense? Okay. So first thing, take on schedule. Next thing, more is not better. If one Tylenol works, maybe 2. If 2 doesn't work, maybe 3, maybe 4. No, you know, take the number of tablets or capsules as directed. So more is not better, okay? Sometimes it is. There's some things where more is better, but we'll talk about it another day. But, but you do want to take the medications as directed because of the half-life. If you took the medication and it was supposed to be effective after 2 hours and it's not working, unless your doctor says take another medication, don't. Because more doesn't necessarily mean better. A higher dose may be better. That means you may need to increase from maybe 5 milligrams to 10 milligrams. But don't go taking 3, 4, 5, 6 without being directed. Yes?
The once a month shot they give you, how
Mm-hmm.
does that work?
Same process. If it's once a month, guess what? That medication stays in your system. Woo! A very long time. It stays in your body extremely long times. Those are shots. Like when I was getting chemo, my meds were in my system for 3 weeks. I would have to go every 3 weeks because it stayed in the system that long. And it didn't kick in the day after chemo. I don't know if some people's had chemo before, but the day of chemo, not a problem. Now the day after chemo, people, my family were always worried, you know, I'm gonna be sick. Everybody wanted to come over and stay with me on the day of chemo. No. I could go to the movies, I could hang out, I could cook a dinner, but the next day I was in a chair, I could not move because the medicine kicked in. And it took almost 24 hours to 48 hours before it kicked in. So you have to know, when is my meds going to kick in? And that's why you want to take it on schedule, take the dose because it's based on the schedule. And the final thing I want to say about drugs, would y'all stop sharing? Stop with the sharing already. Hey, my doctor gave me this for my blood pressure. Yours is high. Here, girl, take one of these. Would you stop the sharing? You know? First of all, you have not identified the problem, right? For which you have to pick the right drug. It may look like high blood pressure. What if they have a stroke? You know? What if it's just, you know, they had an eye disorder, why it's twitching? Or maybe they got something in their eye. Stop giving them drops. Here, they gave me this for my glaucoma, try it. No, no more sharing meds, you know? Plus you run the risk they may have an allergic reaction or a side effect that you won't be able to handle with the sharing rule. Yeah, but her doctor gave her the same pills my doctor gave me. Here's the problem. You got 30 tablets for the month. She ran out Now you give her 5 tablets. How many days you gonna be without your pills? 5 days. And they're not gonna feel it sooner.
Right.
They're not going. So now you're gonna be 5 days without your pills. You see how that works? Stop with the sharing already. Okay? Why don't you just drive her to the doctor? You know? Or help her to call the doctor, say, hey, you know, I lost my pills, I need a refill. But when you share your medications, you diminish your medications, and you're going to end up with a side effects or a problem because your sugar may go down or whatever may happen. Okay? All right. So the rule on drugs, 1, they do have a half-life, so take them on time. 2, make sure you take the number that they tell you to. And 3, don't share your meds. And I do want to have the conversation. Please talk to your provider. If you have a problem with your medications, tell them. But be very specific. Well, you know, I just don't like it. What on earth is that? What does that mean? I don't like it. I don't like it either, but I mean, what do you mean? I want you to be very specific with your body. What is it doing? Is it making you sleepy? Is it making you itch? If it's giving you indigestion, do you get constipated? Does it give you headaches? Does it keep you up? So when you walk into your doctor who may have prescribed a medication, tell them, you know, look, I've been taking this for a month. I have not slept the whole month. Or I've been constipated for 3 weeks. Be very specific. And the words that, I just don't like meds. Okay, I don't either, but you know, if it's going to solve your problem, then you're not marrying the medication, you're just taking it for the problem. So you don't have to like it. I think that's where a lot of people get it. Drugs are not meant for you to have a relationship with. Okay? So you don't have to like it. You have to know what it's for. It has to serve the purpose it was given to you for, and you have to use it appropriately. Right? Now the final story I want to give you, and I know probably overtime now, is this. How do you get off meds? There is an alternative, and I know my audience out there will say, Dr. Powell, you pushing drugs the whole day, the whole time. You talk about drugs. No, I'm not talking drugs. One thing I've learned in all these 30 years, people have choice. You get to choose how you live your life. There are certain choices that you can make that will limit the amount of drugs in your life. And there are certain choices that you will make that will increase the drugs in your life. And that is true. If you're diabetic, type 2, you know that if you have a diet that controls the starches and the sugars, you can control your blood sugar, and you can limit the number of medications you take, or you may not even need any medications. But if you choose to consume starches and sugars, I just like my pasta, I just like my rice, I just like my Kool-Aid. You're choosing to continue with your medications. I don't like cholesterol medicine, I'm not taking it. But you're eating a lot of meat products, you're eating a lot of fat, you're eating a lot of grease, things that will clog your arteries. It boils down a lot of things to choice. And when I started teaching back in April, I said the first thing you have is choice. You get to take your meds or not. You get to choose to eat well or poorly, right? And I will guarantee you, the more you choose healthy eating and a healthy lifestyle, sleeping well, exercising, drinking your water, reduce the processed foods, the less drugs and you'll have. You know, as long as it's not genetic. You will, but choose. And for the New Year's, I'm inviting everyone to choose to be well. That's my last thing to say, choose to be well. All right, any questions? All right. I know it's a little heavy today, heavy hitter today, but it had to be done. Thank you guys.